Welcome to the After Spin. What didn't you get to say on last week's show, John Hood?
What I didn't get to say is I wanted to agree with Chris about his point that the Senate budget contains a rather egregious cut in technology for the state's court system. That is a proper and primary function of government. It has not been adequately funded. It is critical that the courts have the ability to track, for example, what happens to offenders and make sure that we have the records necessary to keep dangerous people off the streets and to be more effective. And I just think it was a mistake.
Peg O'Connell, what didn't you get to say on last week's show?
Oh, and going back to the budget, the devastating impact that this move to privatization and all these cuts has on local public health and our local public health departments, which are oftentimes providers of last resort or the only providers of primary care in some of these poor counties. Chris mentioned the cuts in school nurses. I mean, we have a public health system that is on oxygen now because it's been so underfunded, and this is just going to devastate it.
Howard Lee, what didn't you get to say on last week's show?
I am really concerned about the action the legislature is taking to pull us out of the Common Core standards. And there's a lot of misinformation that is going around about what they actually do and how much control they take from us in terms of our ability to set standards for our kids. I think that misinformation is not serving us well, and I'd like to see us really rethink carefully before we go forward on that.
Follow up on that. It seems to me like Common Core established some rigor in education, and now we're getting ready to turn everything back over to the bunch of people that established the previous standards.
Absolutely. We've gone down that road with us setting our own standards and paying attention to know what others are doing, and our kids were not performing well. We were now at a point where I think we had a real opportunity to hold schools' feet to the fire and really have some good performance from our kids.
Chris Fitzsimon, what didn't you get to say on last week's show?
Well, we did talk a little bit about it, or I guess I did, about how there was a lot of things in the Senate budget that really shouldn't have been in the budget, that should have been debated, like the Medicaid reform in a committee where we had some discussion. Another one of those things was the Senate provision to create a new way to deal with lawsuits against laws passed by the General Assembly, to set up a 3-judge panel selected by the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court to hear lawsuits. There's two parts of that. One is that's bizarre to change the court system in a provision in the budget without any hearings. And the second one, it wouldn't let a judge it wouldn't let a judge halt a program that he thought was blatantly unconstitutional while that case was being heard. So in effect, what we've done is we've rewritten in a Senate provision with no discussion, no debate, no subcommittee meetings, no media scrutiny, no questions. We've rewritten how the court system in North Carolina works, literally. And I think whether you agree with it or not, that's an outrageous way to conduct policy in North Carolina. It's just horrible.